This week's Parshas Emor begins the discussion about the Kohanim, various different halachas considering the Kohen and the Kohen Gadol, what's permissible because he has to always be in a state of readiness to serve Hashem, in terms of spiritual purity, impurity, marriage, raising a family, and also talks about the karbanos as well, sacrifices, as we're dealing with the avodas Hashem in the Beis Hamikdash, the beginning of the Mishkan, the Beis Hamikdash, and it goes on from that point to talk about various different inyanim, but specifically it ends off with a discussion about the Chagim, the holidays, which also includes the mitzvah of Sfiras HaOmer, which we're now in the midst of, working our way towards Shavuos in preparation for Kabbalas Torah. And there's a very famous medrash on the very first word, the darshans of the first word, Emor el Kohanim, speaks to the Kohanim on a Pashut Pshat level, that Kosh Baruch was telling Moshe Rabbeinu to tell over these laws and halachas of the Kohanim to the Kohanim themselves. But the medrash plays on this word and says that it's talking about a discussion that takes place in Shemayim during the time the Shaul HaMelech is taking his sons out to fight his final battle of his life against the Pelishtim, the Philistines, the Palestinians at that time. And he's going to die. And he's going to die a gruesome death. Not a pleasant way to go, but, a din min Shemayim. He made some very catastrophic mistakes. It cost him his malchus, his right to be the king. And the time he's being killed, it says the Malachim and Shemayim, they were complaining to Kosh Baruch and saying, it's like, how can you allow one of your anointed to be killed this way, to be disgraced this way? It's a disgrace to the Jewish people, to Jewish history. How is it possible? So the Medrash says that Kosh Baruch turns to the Malachim, Kivayochel, so to speak, and says, Emor Elokenim, speak to the priest, the Kohanim. And the Medrash darshans out and says this is talking about that during the time that Shaul lost it, he was melancholy. When he lost the Malchus, the Ruach HaKodesh was taken away from him. He was no longer connected to Kosh Baruch in the same way he was previously, which was a very, very depressing thing for him. And he knew that David HaMelech was going to replace him, and he tried to kill him on several occasions. He tried to kill him. Very strange, peculiar period of history, not without explanations. And as David HaMelech was running away, he was fleeing, he stopped at a city of Kohanim, the city of Nov, and he stayed there, and he consulted the Urim V'Tumim to find out what to do, what Hashem wanted him to do, and they fed him. And when they found out that they supported him and helped him out, Doeg had the entire city of Kohanim wiped away. 80 Kohanim wiped away for helping David HaMelech, and they were the ones, the Mekatrugim, who were arguing, the ones who had the taina against Shaul HaMelech, and that's why he's dying right now. Their taina, they're complaining, and Shaul HaMelech is responsible for him being killed over here, and therefore, if you want to complain to me, complain to them, because they had the complaint, Hashem says, the Malachim. If they are maskim, fine, but they're not maskim, and therefore, he's dying the way he's dying right now. So, what does this mean? What's it supposed to mean? What's the connection between his death over here, and the Emor El Kohanim, and the Parsha itself, and what it means in terms of the overall period, the Kami the Sfira, and this Motzi Shabbos is Lag BaOmer, which is also part of the picture over here. And it means the following thing. This is how Chazal explain it, that when Shaul failed to show mercy to the Kohanim of Ir Nov, you're a Kohanim, the city of Kohanim. So that there was a complaint against Shaul because he previously showed mercy to Agag, even though it wasn't really complete mercy. The king of Amalek, there was a reason, there was a svar, there was a logic behind it. It wasn't that he actually liked Agag and he wanted to show mercy, but he showed restraint. That's the main thing over here. He showed restraint. And because he was capable of showing restraint, why did he show restraint over here? Because if somebody has a certain weakness in a certain area, they can't do a certain way. And Hashem knows that. He made the person that way. So if a person fails in an area of life over and over and over again, they try to do the best they can. They do whatever they can to succeed, but it's their weakness. Hashem takes it into account And he knows that this person is weak over here, and therefore there's a cheshbon. He's not held as responsible for that specific chet or mistake as somebody who's not weak in this area of life. But if somebody can do that particular thing well, and they don't do it well over here, so that becomes the accusation against the person. Since Shaul HaMelech showed rachamim to Agag temporarily, whatever you want to call it, at that point in time, it's still called rachamim, it's called mercy over here, and did not kill him on the spot like he was supposed to, so why couldn't he restrain himself by the time of the Kohanim as well? And because he didn't, so now it was a time on him, and therefore he's dying in battle over here. And the Madrash says that this is what's going to happen to everybody in Bedin. Everybody has understanding in Bedin of, so they're going to say, why didn't you learn more Torah? And the person's going to say, I didn't have time. So Hashem will open the book and show the movie, whatever, and say, look over here, you had time for this, and you had time for that, and you had no time for Torah? Forget it. No excuse. And why did you give more tzedakah and do more chesed? I didn't have the money. You didn't have the money? What are you talking about? Look what you spent over here. You had the money for that thing over there. Yeah, not money. Pulling the wool over my eyes? I'm God. I gave you the money. I know what you had. I didn't have in the end. No excuse, right? And why didn't you, carry out this mitzvah? Or learn a little extra? I have no strength, no koyach. Hashem said, no koyach, no strength. What are you talking about? Look what you did over here. Look how you ran in a marathon. Look how you stood up all night to do business, to close a business deal. You had no time, no strength to learn Torah. No excuse. So, the parsha, this medrash, is indicating to us the importance of realizing our potential and using our potential, because otherwise it's going to come back in our face. Whatever we do, you have to understand, whatever we do for personal satiation, for personal desires and completion on a gashmistic level, we have to make sure we follow through also on a ruchnistic level as well. That's really what Sfiras Omer is all about as well. We're counting the Omer from the time that we left Mitzrayim, the first day after the first Yantif, the first day of the Omer, until 49 days later. Finally, the 50th day of the Omer. 50 is always L'malam Tava, supernatural. It's also the reality of the Yovel and Nun Shari Bina, the 50 gates of understanding. This is all the big picture, of course. The book, the big picture, 36 sessions to intellectual and spiritual clarity, which is now about to be printed. It goes into all these inyanim, all these different matters. Just a sharp plug over here. But the basic idea is character development. And it's not just, it's a specific type of character development that really ties back to the Parsha as well. And Lag BaOmer for that matter. Because, as is pointed out before, that there are 49 days of the Omer, but really 50 days of the Omer. We don't count the 50th day because 50 is Shavuos itself. Right? But if you look at the Omer count itself, then you have 32 days until Lag BaOmer. Lag BaOmer, of course, that's the Gematria 33. It's the 33rd day of the Omer. And then after that, until Shavuos, you have 17 days. So you have 32 days, Lag BaOmer, and another 17 days, the 17th day itself being Shavuos, the time of Kabbalah Torah. So it's been pointed out that the Gematria of Lev, the word heart, is 32, and the Gematria of the word Tov, which is 17, is the last part of the Omer, separated by the 33rd day of the Omer. And combined together, you get the word Lev Tov, which might not mean something. It's a nice thing to have a good heart. Everyone should have a good heart. It might not mean that much, except for the fact that the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos in the second chapter, when they're asking what's the best midah a person can develop, a good eye, this, like that, they suggest different possibilities. Finally, the Mishnah says a good heart. A good heart incorporates everything. You have a good heart, everything falls into place, and everything is the way it's supposed to be. Right? You can rise above, mundane reality with a Lev Tov, which is not coincidental because, as we see in last week's Parsha, on the mitzvah of Ahavta l'recha kamocha, you should love your neighbor as yourself. And Rabbi Kiva, on this specific mitzvah, says, Zeh klal gadol b'Torah. This is a very important, major, seminal principle in all of Torah. And what does the Torah say in Parshas Yisro, right before Kabbalah Torah, the famous words, right? V'yichen tachas hahar, they camped at the base of the mountain. V'yichen is singular, it's not, it should be v'yichenu, the nation camped at the bottom there, right? And Chazal Darshan out, Rashi brings right there in this spot.